Well, folks, I gotta say, I just watched the home run derby. I just saw Pete Alonso get eliminated by Julio Rodriguez, and he never stood a chance. He never stood a chance. And I'm a big Pete Alonso fan. I love Pete. I love when he competes in these home run derbies. Already won in 2019, 2021, and I was hoping 2023. But you know what? After seeing Julio Rodriguez knocked 41 home runs in the first round, I knew it was over. Especially if you saw the way this guy was swinging at the rate he was hitting home runs. Oh my God, I've never seen anything like it. How many home runs? How many balls did he miss? Did he just not hit like 3 or 4 balls out? The guy was a freaking machine. A machine. I mean, this guy is 23 years old. And the thing that was amazing about it is when he went up after the contest to shake Pete's hand, he's the same exact size as Pete. The same exact size. And I go look it up. I'm like, how tall is this guy? This guy is 6'3", center fielder with the pop like that, stamina. I mean, it is crazy. No wonder why the Seattle Mariners signed this guy to an insane contract. I mean, the sky is the limit for this guy. I mean, I collect baseball cards, and I was collecting this guy's card like crazy last year because he had a monster season. And I would watch the highlights and the clips, and I'm like, wow, this guy is good. But I never watched the home run. I missed the home run derby last year. But this year, I couldn't believe it. And the pitcher that Julio Rodriguez had, oh my God, give that guy, if any money Julio Rodriguez gets, give the guy half the money to the pitcher. Because I'm not just going to say it was the pitcher. Julio gets 90% of the credit. But this guy was laying it in like a frisbee, was throwing sidearm, took only like a second and a half between each pitch. That makes a difference. That makes a huge difference. And also, too, Julio Rodriguez and a couple of these other guys, they're younger than Pete. They're in more shape than Pete. So in terms of a stamina competition, Pete was already off to a bad start. He really was. I gotta say, he was gonna have to thread the needle and be perfect. Maybe it was 4 years ago. Maybe if it was 2019, Pete being 24 years old, he can compete. But right now, Pete, this is what happens. You get older, you get slower. It's hard for him to compete with a guy who is in that good a condition, that strong of a guy, that big of a guy. They're talking about Pete's size. This guy's just the same size. He really is. Except he's a center fielder / like wide receiver. I mean, this guy probably is one of the best athletes that I've seen. I can't believe he didn't get tired at all. At all. Pete was huffing and puffing after like a minute and a half. When he took his break, I think he had like 13 home runs. I'm like, oh my God, he's got to hit another 30. He's got to hit another 30. And then his pitcher's throwing it on the outside corner. He's throwing sliders away from Pete. Oh no, oh no. All right, well, guess what? Us Met fans, we're not going to have a championship home run derby winner this year. Oh well, oh well. So it is what it is. I mean, I just thought it would have been nice to see Pete win 3 times. I think Ken Griffey Jr. is the only other guy to win 3 times. And seeing Julio Rodriguez, he was giving me vibes of Ken Griffey Jr. Think of this. Another young center fielder from Seattle. Come on. And you know, they were saying Pete is built for this competition. Yes, he's a power hitter. But Julio Rodriguez doesn't stop. He's a machine. He's a machine. So Julio Rodriguez, this guy looks like he's going to be really special. I know he's not having the year that he did last year. I believe he has got 13 home runs, but this is a guy to watch. This is a guy to watch. And I'm looking at the young stars that are in the All-Star game this year. You guys got like Wander Franco, Julio Rodriguez, Adley Rushman. He's a guy from the catcher from Baltimore. A lot of young talent this year. Luis Robert of Chicago White Sox. There's a lot of young Gunnar Henderson. There's a lot of young talent out there. A lot of young players. Major League Baseball is doing a good job developing their players, teams. You know, I gotta say, I'm excited to watch the All-Star game tomorrow. It looks like the sport is really having a lot of good young players. I'm really impressed with that. Hopefully the Mets. Hopefully the Mets can do something and develop players of their own. Hopefully. Specifically, starting pitching. Like the guy that they drafted yesterday, and I just wanted to have a couple comments on him. His name is Colin Houck. And the thing that was interesting about him, I'm like, he was supposed to be a top 12 pick. And he ended up getting to 32. And I'm like, wow, that is amazing that he was able to get to the Mets. And I was watching the broadcast, and when this young man was drafted by the Mets, the broadcasters automatically said the Mets were penalized. They were penalized 10 slots for the luxury tax. But you know what, folks? There was no effect. The Mets got a guy who was supposed to be top 12. He was supposed to be top 12, and luckily, the Mets were able to draft this guy. They was able to draft this guy at 32nd overall. And, I mean, he's a shortstop. He seems to have a lot of good tools. He's 6'2", and I'm just going to bring up some details that I saved about him. But, you know, that's what it's all about right now. It's all about getting talent. Doesn't matter if you have a shortstop. Doesn't matter if you have third baseman. Doesn't matter if you have catchers. If you stockpile talent, that's all it matters on a major league team. You never know what happens. You never know who gets hurt. You never know who becomes available. But if you have the most talented organization, you have the most flexibility. So I'm going to give you some scouting report information. Just so you know where I get this, I'm getting this from MLB.com. They do a good job of scouting young players. And like I said, I am impressed with this pick. And let's give you a little bit more about Colin. Colin is 18 years old. He was drafted out of high school. He was a two-sport athlete, quarterback, and obviously shortstop. So the guy is very athletic. He's about 190 pounds. He throws right. He bats right. He was one of the better two-sport prospects in the whole entire draft. He was a three-star quarterback. He passed for about 2,200 yards, 24 touchdowns. So he was a very talented quarterback as well. He has a combination of strength and bat speed. They give him plus raw power. He shows a propensity for driving balls in the air to the pull side. So he has to develop a bit more going the other way, going with the pitch. You want to make sure you don't have a position where you can get out on the plate. He does swing and miss and chase pitches more than ideal at times, but he's only 18. Even though he does do this, there is optimism among the scouts that he can improve as a hitter once he concentrates solely on baseball. So he's been focusing on baseball and football. Once he 100% commits to baseball, which he did last year, scouts anticipate his numbers going up. It's hard. Honestly, it's hard to concentrate on two sports. When football ends, immediately go to baseball. Baseball ends, immediately go to football. You have training camps before the season starts. The seasons are very long. They're very grueling. Okay, so he was Gatorade's Georgia State Player of the Year. Houck can also flash solid speed, but he projects more as an average runner once he fills out. Though he's more physical than twitchy, his plus arm and outstanding body control give him a chance to be a big-bodied shortstop. At worst, he'll move to third, and he could be a plus defender while fitting the offensive profile. So it looks like here the guy is going to be a solid defensive player wherever he goes, whether he remains at shortstop, and the scouts are saying he can do it, but he can also play third. He has great defensive ability. He has a great plus arm. So that is going to be the options we have for Colin. As far as the scouting grades, he was graded out of 80. So the hit, he was graded a 55, a power of 55, the run ability 50, arm 60, fielding 50, and overall 55. Like I said, he was ranked by, I believe, MLB.com as the 12th best prospect. I think he was projected to go to the Diamondbacks, but he ended up going way back. You never know what's going to happen in a draft. I heard comments from the young Colin, and he was just very happy. He enjoyed his time in high school, and he values like going to the major leagues, going to MLB, whether he's going to be in the minor league system. He values going that at an early age. He can elect to still do football activities. He can elect to go back to school, but this is going to be a situation where it's going to have to be worked out with Colin. It's going to have to be worked out probably with his family and the New York Mets organization. So we're going to see how that works. And like I said he committed last year strictly to baseball, so that is looking good for the Mets as far as getting him in the organization and signed as early as possible. Okay, so that's my take on Colin. Like I said, I would give that a very high grade to Billy Epler in the Mets. You take the best guy available. It seems like money-wise, just so everybody knows, the Mets have about $8.5 million to sign these young prospects. Colin looks to be slotted in where he would get about $2.5 million. So it is a decent chunk, about 25% of the overall budget. But for a player like Colin, it seems like a bargain to me. So, great move, Colin. Pete, better luck next year. Mets, bottom line, we got to keep developing players. Drafting well, developing players, not making silly trades, making smart trades. I would suggest, like I've been doing in all my videos, trade away the veterans. Trade away the veterans right now, especially the guys signed to one-year contracts, meaning their contract would expire at the end of this year. Their value to us after this year is zero. Get something for them long term. All right. If you could like and subscribe, especially if you're a big Met fan like me, do us a favor. We love our Mets on this channel. Stick around, like, and subscribe. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Enjoy the All-Star game and the festivities. And I will speak to you soon.